Hello, everybody. Hello, this is Jan Hart here again, and welcome to day 2 of Freedom from Anxiety in Uncertain Times. And again, I'm going to ask today if there is anybody that's here with me. If you could pop a comment into the comments just to say that you can see and hear me before I say too much more, that would be great. So thank you. Is anybody there? Okay, nothing coming through yet. There's nobody here yet. I'll give it a minute. Oh, there's Kay. Hi, Kay. Welcome. Thanks for the message. Okay, I know you can see and hear me now, so that's great. Right, so I'm Jan Hart from Reconnect with Heart, and as I said a minute ago, welcome to day 2 of Freedom from Anxiety during uncertain times. So yesterday was day 1, and I shared a little bit about my own story and my own background. Hi Lizette, lovely to see you here. I introduced you to an understanding that I bumped into a few years ago, and how that understanding moved me from a life that was pretty much ruled by stress and anxiety to a place where that experience has, for the most part, just melted away for me. So I talked about how we learn at a young age that the world works outside in, and how what's going on outside in the world around us, that we learn that determines how we feel on the inside. And we talked about how that's just such a huge innocent misunderstanding. Nobody's fault, it was handed down through the generations. But I did also share that that's not truth. The truth is that we create our own experience in the world from the inside out. And that's what we're here to talk about for the month of November, is the nature of how we create our experience of life inside out. I also talked a little bit about the ticker tape that constantly runs through our mind all day long, day in, day out, that we're born into this world of thought, and the ticker tape starts as soon as we're born and it continues until we die. Hi Tina, welcome. Oh, Catherine's here as well. Lovely to see you all. Great. So I also spoke about how the thoughts that are on our ticker tape are neutral, they're impersonal, and that the nature of thought is that it's transient and ever moving. So it's a bit like the Irish weather. If you don't like the thoughts you're having, then all you got to do is wait 5 minutes and new ones will come along. And that's something new and different, or it was for me anyway. So today we're going to explore a little bit more deeply the nature of thought and the link between thoughts and feelings, or the relationship between our thoughts and our feelings. Now, before I get into too much of anything, what I do want to say, because I didn't say it yesterday, is that some of the information that I'm going to be introducing over the coming weeks may be different to the way that you understood how things worked, how life worked. So I'm just going to ask you to keep an open mind, an open heart, and if you have a willingness to listen with curiosity rather than judgment, then that's really what creates the shift in our experience. There's really not a whole lot to do. I'm not going to be sharing tools or techniques. It was this understanding on its own that created the shift in me, to take me to a place where I'm now free from anxiety. That doesn't mean that I don't have stressful thoughts, but the stressful thoughts don't have me when they do arise, and I suppose that's really the key difference. Okay, so the other thing I want to say is I don't want you to take my word for anything that I say here. I want you to take it away and check it out for yourself. Because it's only when you see this for yourself at a deep level that the shifts happen, and that you have a different experience in your life. If you're sitting here trying to get an intellectual understanding, you will get that, but that's not going to help you. It's only when we go below our thinking or beyond our thinking and feel our way into this understanding that we really have an impact. So if I was to ask you to listen in any particular kind of way, I would say listen with an open mind and an open heart. Just let the words wash over you. Don't be trying to pick them apart or analyze them. You may have reactions and judgments that come up, and that's fine. Just notice them. The trick is not to engage with them, not to jump on them, like we talked about yesterday when we jumped on the thoughts on our ticker tape. So that's it. So we'll get going with day 2. So we're going to start our exploration with thought, following on from yesterday. And I'd like this to be a little more of a experiential session, I suppose. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Hi, Louisa. And after I've asked the questions, 3 or 4 questions, I'm going to be quiet, just for about 30 seconds. And all I want you to do is to sit in the silence and to notice what comes up for you in your mind in relation to these questions. What kind of answers come to mind? There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. As I said a minute ago, you may have judgments or reactive types of thoughts to what I'm saying. That's fine. Just notice them. That's all there is to do. Okay, so here's the questions. Right, so just reflect for a few moments and get curious about the following. What is a thought? Can you touch it? Can you show it to me? And what is it made of? So just get curious and see what comes up. Okay, it's probably long enough if you're not used to sitting in silence. So I hope just in that little exercise that you can start to see for yourself that thought isn't a thing and it's not tangible. It's not something that we can grab a hold of, and it has no form. So I'm going to introduce a new analogy today, and I'm going to talk about clouds in the sky and weather systems. So I like to think of thoughts like blips of energy passing through our awareness, in our mind, moment to moment, just like the clouds pass through the sky every single day. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I used to spend a lot of time, particularly in the summer, lying on the grass and looking up at the sky and seeing all the clouds and all the shapes. You'd see animals and faces and buildings and all sorts of things. And our thoughts are just like that. Our thoughts are passing through our mind in the same way. Now here's the difference. When I was a child looking up at the clouds in the sky and enjoying everything that I saw and letting my imagination run wild and sharing it with my friends, I didn't take that seriously. The thoughts I had about those clouds I held very lightly, with light energy, playful energy. I didn't think that they had any meaning, and I certainly didn't think that they meant anything about me. Now, I'm going to ask you to consider that who you truly are is not your thoughts, but you're like the blue sky of awareness that is observing all the clouds floating by in the sky. So we're the observer in our own bodies, in our own minds, and we can see all these thoughts. We can see our body, we can see what's going on outside, so we're not our body and we're not our thoughts. We're actually what's behind all that. So we are the awareness, the consciousness. And when we look at the clouds in the sky, some are white, some are lovely and pink and fluffy, and some are grey. When there's weather travelling through the sky, we can have all seasons, all 4 seasons in one day here in Ireland, and you can have all 4 seasons in your head in one day. I can tell you that over the last week or two, I've had lots of different feelings. I've been up, I've been down, I felt great, I felt awful. But what's different for me now is that I know that all those feelings are simply a reflection of the thoughts that I'm having at that particular moment. And I don't take them so seriously anymore. And I know that they don't mean anything about me, and I know I don't have to take instruction from them. And if I feel a sense of urgency in my body, I know that even though it might seem like that's telling me that I have to take action and I have to get up and I have to do something now, that's a misunderstanding, and that it's actually telling me the exact opposite. So the other thing I suppose I'd like to say about the weather is, and this kind of brings us into feelings. So feelings are simply a reflection of what we're thinking in any moment. That's it. They're like the special effects department. They bring what we're thinking to life. It's like we're watching a Netflix movie inside in our head, and we just keep changing the channel all day long, and we feel good and we feel bad and we feel all sorts of things because there's different thoughts traveling through our awareness. So a lot of people that I talk to will say, but I don't like feeling anxious and I don't like feeling stressed, and it's grand when the happy thoughts come and when I feel content and I have peace, and that's grand, but I don't want all the other thoughts. And I suppose, keeping with the weather analogy, what I would say to you is that a rainbow is a rainbow because it's made of every colour. And we as humans, to be fully human, will experience all sorts of thinking and all sorts of feeling. And we're designed to feel every feeling that's on the spectrum. But the trick is, when we know that the world doesn't work outside in, and that what's going on outside doesn't impact how we feel inside, then we can decode our feelings differently. So, before I just move on, I just want to say that saying I don't want to feel anxiety or stress or overwhelm or any of those things is like saying, well, I know I'm a rainbow, but I only want red and blue and green, and you can keep the other colours because I don't like them and I don't want them, so just keep them away from me. But you're no longer a rainbow. And we're no longer fully human when we don't allow and embrace all of who we are and all of our experiences. Now, the man that started the teachings that created this understanding for me was a man named Sydney Banks. And one of the things he's most famous for saying is, if we just weren't afraid of our own experiences, that alone would change the world. And it's so true, and it's so simple. Because if we're not afraid of what thoughts we have and the experiences that they create within us, and we understand the nature of thought and the nature of experience, then there's distance and there's space and there's freedom. So let me give you a couple of examples. So when I feel stressed usually, and more so in the past than now, but the typical symptoms that would come along with that would be the sweaty palms, the nauseousness, the pit in my stomach, pain in my chest, really tight, contracted, my heart would be racing, I'd probably be sweating, I'd have a headache, and I'd be thinking, what's wrong with me? But now when those feelings come up, the way to decode them for me now is, oh my goodness, I'm having stressful thinking. Look at all the messages the wisdom in my body is sending me. Because our bodies are wise. There's a universal wisdom in all of our bodies, and I haven't spoken about that, but we will speak about it a bit more. If you think about it, if you have a tummy bug, there's a wisdom in the body to get rid of something that's either a virus or you've eaten something bad, and there's wisdom in the body to take that out for you and to get rid of it. But what happens to us when we get caught up in stressful thinking is, first of all, like I said yesterday, the thoughts are just coming through on our ticker tape, and there's ones that we're okay with, and then something comes along that we don't like and we grab it. And then we layer more and more and more thinking, and we create that tangle in our ticker tape. And when there's a tangle in the ticker tape, the thoughts that want to go through get blocked in the tangle. And we feel worse. And when we feel worse, then the thinking kicks in, because it's a cycle, and we get into a downward spiral. And we start thinking, oh God, here it comes again, here's all those feelings again, oh no, why is this happening to me, oh God, why does this always happen, I can't even control it, I'm such a loser, this is always going to be like that, oh my God, I feel so hopeless, or whatever it is for you. But when we when we engage with the thinking and we jump on it and we start adding layers and layers of our own personal thinking onto it, then we just get ourselves into a bit of a jam. So the secret is, I suppose, decoding your feelings in a different way. So, if I'm working and suddenly I'm on my computer and I suddenly notice that, oh my God, my shoulders are tense, or my neck is starting to ache. Before I'd have thought, oh God, I've been on the computer too long now, and I'm not sitting up properly, or maybe my posture is bad, or something like that. Whereas now I just say to myself, you're having some kind of thinking, Jen, that's creating these feelings in your body. Maybe it's time to take a break. Just get up and walk around for a while and come back. And sure as eggs are eggs, by the time you get back, some other new thought will have kicked in, because it always does. So I think that's probably as much as I wanted to cover today. I want to try and keep it simple and just go one point at a time and introduce a couple of metaphors along the way. I'd love questions, guys. Or if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's all grand, but you have all these yeah, but this and yeah, but that, throw the yeah, buts down in the comments and let's have a conversation about them. Particularly at the moment, because, you might be hearing that I'm saying something about the pandemic, and maybe I am. But the pandemic is a great example of how our thinking creates our feelings. Because if you just look around you and listen, if you talk to 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different versions of what this pandemic is about. Some people don't even believe there is a pandemic. Some people believe it's a conspiracy. Some people believe it's a scary thing. Some people think it's the end of their business. Some people see huge business opportunities in this. Some people think the pubs should be open. Some people think they shouldn't. So we all have our own views and opinions, and we all have different thoughts passing through our awareness. And we tend to believe the thoughts that are passing through our awareness. So if you can start to see, as Donna said yesterday, if you can start to see that your thoughts are not facts, that they're simply thoughts going through your awareness, and that they're neutral and impersonal and they just move, then, that's powerful. And just to give you a little bit of a taste of that, I'm going to ask you another little question, and then I'm going to be quiet for a little minute. And again, just notice what comes up for you. So I want you to think about when you sit in the silence, how do the thoughts appear in your mind? Where do they come from? And where do they go when they pass on? And as thoughts are going through your awareness in the 30 seconds of silence, just notice, do you have to do anything to make one thought move on and another one come in? So we'll just sit with that. And I count to 30 and I come back and we'll see how we got on. Okay, guys, I don't have a timer, but that's it. So I don't know what happened for you, but if you want to share in the comments, please do. I'd be happy to hear what came up for you. Um, I suppose what came up for me when I was sitting here was, I wonder what the people listening are thinking about what I'm saying. Oh, there's a car passing outside. Oh, my nose is getting itchy. I wonder how many seconds have passed. And it just goes on and on. So, I'd like you to get curious. I mean, I didn't do anything. I don't know where those thoughts came from. I didn't bring them in. I didn't make them go away. They came and went on their own. As they do. Because that's the nature. We think we're in control of our thinking. Again, another innocent misunderstanding, something we learned along the way, but we're not. If I ask you, what are you going to be thinking about at 8:25 p.m. this evening? Do you know? Can you tell me? Can you plan it? Can you make it happen? In my experience, no. I might say now what I'm going to be thinking about, but at 8:25, who knows whether I will be or not. The other thing I'd say to you is, if I asked you to sit down, and you might want to try this on your own maybe after the call, if I asked you to sit down for 15 minutes and spend 5 minutes thinking about one topic, 5 minutes thinking about another, and 5 minutes thinking about a third, and to think about nothing else in those 15 minutes other than those 3 topics in those designated 5 minutes. Go see if you can do it, because I know I can't. But it's only by doing it for yourself that you'll see it. And when you see it for yourself, it kind of creates a little kind of a chink of light, and we start to disrupt our old paradigms, and we start to see something new. And that's all that's needed here. Kay says, get rid of the negative thought and replace it with a positive one. Yeah, we don't even have to do that, Kay, because we're not in charge of getting rid of them, and we're not in charge of bringing new ones in. It does that all on its own. But if you just don't grab onto them and try and control it, they flow on their own. It's interesting, isn't it? It's very attractive to think that we can get in there and do stuff with our thinking. But the more we mess with it, the more we only intensify the stuff that we don't like. And we whip it up. Just like we take a snow globe and you shake it all up. And then you wonder, why am I feeling so bad? I'm trying to fix it, I'm trying to manage it, I'm doing everything I can, I'm trying to control it. But the more you zone in on it and the more you focus and the more thinking you layer on it, the worse you're going to feel. And I know it's contrary to what we've been taught, but that's been my experience. So as I say, go check it out. Yeah. Louisa says the rainbow makes very good sense. Yeah, that's one of my favourites, Louisa. Makes total sense to me. Why would I want to be less than a human being? That's what we are. We just have to embrace it all. Lizette says, I love the cloud analogy. Thoughts drifting, not solid, just changing energy. Yeah, and love the rainbow and embracing all colours. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Catherine says, thoughts are moving, and that's so interesting. Yeah, Catherine, they are. Always. That's the nature of thought, is that it just flows and it moves until we get in the way and think we can do a better job. So yeah, and thoughts are not solid. They're just like blips of energy, traveling through our awareness. And when we recognize that that's what they are, as I said yesterday, that's where the freedom lies, because it creates space between the thoughts passing through our awareness and the essence of who we are. And I haven't talked about that either, but I will. Not today, though. So, guys, any questions? It's coming up on, we're over 20 minutes, so I'll shut this down soon if there isn't any questions, but feel free to shout if there is. And, I'd like you to think about even anything you'd like me to talk about over the next few weeks, and you can feel free to send me a message if there's something that you'd like me to cover specifically. I'm happy to do it. I'm here to provide support in whatever way it's meaningful for people, so be sure to ask for what you need. And as the old saying goes, ask and you shall receive. So I don't see any more questions coming in, but the comments are great. Thanks for being here, guys, and thanks for engaging with me here today. And I hope you learned something and had some fun, and enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you all again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So Be well, everybody. Stay safe. Love to everybody. Bye bye.